would like to invite Sri Dr. Krish Garu on the dais.
So I would like to request Dr. Krish. Dr. Krish is a chief advisor for Bangalore Hospitals, and I requested him to brief about their activities about the hospital. Sir, I request you to please go ahead with.
Thanks a lot. Anything I share with you right now is not about me. It's about two things I want to touch about. One is the fact that 70% of patients in India go to private hospitals and 30% go to government hospitals. We wanted to bridge the disparity between private and public hospitals because people have lost trust in private hospitals. You go for something, they ask you to do hundreds of tests, and they're very worried. By the time they come out, especially middle class and lower middle class people will end up seeing bills of 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs for nothing, So that scares people to stay away from hospitals unless you all have health insurance or whatever that you're not worried about. So to bridge that gap, Dr. C.N. Manjunath, whom you know, right? So C.N. Manjunath is a member of parliament now, but he has been my friend for 20 years plus. We have a group of doctors. We decided, Dr. Ramchandra of Kidwai, who was director of Kidwai Oncology, and I was professor myself. I was teaching in US. I'm an oncology scientist, by the way. It's not about me. So we decided what to do about this issue. And we came out with certain programs at Bangalore Hospital as a model that we can showcase, wherein we decided to do, you are all aware of this executive health test and everything. Except that, when they do the blood test, sometimes people don't realize that they need more than just the CBC test, lipid test and all those things, especially in these days of contagious diseases spreading around. So what we decided to do was to specifically see the patient and derive an executive health check program for only 3,000 rupees, the complete test from echo to everything. Having said that, if there was somebody who could not afford it, and they could prove that they could not afford it, we have a foundation, myself and Dr. C.N. Manjunath has a foundation. We will never turn down and send back a patient because they could not afford it. That's the first step at Bangalore Hospital. Treatment first and payment later. This philosophy we brought into it. And then we still have a secondary things we do, especially widows or people who are divorced, and if they're single moms, especially children, everything. We are not going to leave any stone unturned in terms of, at least at Bangalore Hospital, we, as an advisor as well as Dr. C.N. Manjunath being involved, we will not turn back any patient because they could not afford to pay, just like in a public hospital. So this philosophy will bridge the gap between public and private hospitals to make sure that people have the trust to go back and get treatments there. That's number one. On the other hand, I went to US when I was very young, and I can only speak Kannada. I can't read and write any of the Indian languages, but my father was a professor, double PhD professor at Cornell in 1950s. So there you go. You can make out the rest. So the important thing is that when I decided that it was time for me to give back to the society, I started doing so in United States, where the state of California even gave me an award as community hero for 2020. But then a lot of people deserve that award. The whole team, battalion. So I dedicated that award to my team, who deserved it more than me. Then in India, I'm involved in a lot of different things. First of all, children. See, we know, at least my generation, I don't want to sound too old, but I am, I guess, and me and Professor Madhusudan would agree. We are young, by the way. You are younger than me in heart and soul. So we are leaving a world behind for youngsters, which is very challenging. So it's time for us to do something for the kids. I'm truly, I remarkably pay my respects to my wife because we work a lot in villages. We have placed over 5,000 kids in colleges past high school because there's a whole lot of dropouts in school children, village school children, especially in government schools. And then we also are putting together a program of certification program wherein they can get some training in something that they can start working rather than running away from home or, Uber driving is good, but it's a secondary job. It's, for them, we want us to develop some careers for them. So we are introducing in Karnataka as a pilot project. I'm working with the Karnataka government to introduce, for example, a nursing track for high school kids, girls who would want to learn nursing so that they can go in 9th, 10th, and first grade, PUC, so that they are certified as nursing assistants and they can somehow get into nursing schools past high school as a subject instead of perhaps something else that they may not want to study. They may not want to study, a little bit of math, but then, and then there is a track in hospitality, people who are not very good in math and whatever, and they want to go in that track. And then, of course, IT tracks are there. So if we can introduce one track instead of some subject that the government chooses as an elective option, so by the time they finish their high school, they'll be certified in something. The same thing I'm trying to work with undergraduate degrees who study BCom and everything. People are disheartened that they couldn't get college seats into engineering or this or that, and they end up studying BSc. But these are our kids too. So we want to make sure that if they study BSc or BCom, they have a certification program in Oracle financing if it's BCom, or some other certification in BS, which would put them, because these days companies don't worry much about the degrees you have, but the skill set you have. So these certification programs are good. So we are concentrating a lot on kids, village kids. I go and play cricket with them. I eat from their plates. And one day I went to one of the schools. 4 teachers were on leave, so I decided to stay back the whole day and teach 4 classes. So I just didn't want the children to be lying around. So there's a lot of work that we can do. Then I'm also part of a Madhusudan Sai group in Mudenahalli, where we actually do a lot of work. There's a hospital there which is free, totally free. There's no billing department there. We treat 2,200 patients per day outpatient. Not even, there is no billing department, even including prescription. So they have to show that they have a village ID card. They go in there. And it's a state-of-the-art facility, by the way. By the way, Bangalore Hospital too has the best, equipment for us. So in Mudenahalli, we also have a school program from nursery all the way to PhD, where we go and bring some. We want to make sure that the children are motivated from 5th grade to PhD. They can stay there, study free, fully paid, and then food, everything provided. They can go in holidays to their parents and come back. And even there is a Vedic school in PhD, by the way. So that's one thing. And in addition, we have a nutrition program, because all this education means nothing without good nutrition for kids. So we have scientists we put together. It's not the herbal drink, by the way. It's a nutritional drink made from ragi and everything. No preservatives. Scientifically designed by Harvard and all of us. Manufactured in Mudenahalli, and we supply it to 32 lakh kids per day. School children, 32 lakh meals per day. And it comes to Telangana also, by the way, and Andhra Pradesh. So I'm not taking too much of a time. It's not about me. I'm a soldier, I'm a speck. I mentioned one time that I'm a small grain of sand. There's a lot of work to be done. But of course, every grain of sand makes a mighty beach. So you, in your own ways, by the way, I have never raised any money for anything. We do it through institutions, corporations, and governments. So I never have gone to even one of my best friends. My friends keep on asking me, some of my friends in US, can I donate? I said, no, carry on. You find, I can give you, for example, is it okay? 3 more minutes? What I'm trying to do is not about me, but to inspire you to do something in your own area. You don't have to, you can, start with 1 kid, 5 kids, whatever you want to do. So 30 years ago, the lady who worked for my mother came to me and said, nobody has studied beyond 5th grade in my home, can you help? That's when my philanthropic mind started. I want to thank her for that. And so I thought, okay, and I was new in my career. I just finished my degrees and whatever. So I said, I'll support your kid. She has 4 daughters, like 6, 4, 3, 2 or whatever. So I started with, and then I never saw them. I had a guy in Bangalore who used to go and pay fees for them. And today, and one day we were in Gandhi Bazaar. They all came back near Vidyarthi Bhavan where we wanted to eat dosa. I thought a mob was attacking me. They all came running towards me with their husbands, and they wanted to do namaskar and said, One of them is working in Accenture, making 2 lakh rupees. He's a software engineer. I didn't know at all. So you can, the example I'm giving you is somebody might be taking care of your mother or aunt or someone. And if they have a kid, you can start with that. Just say, I'm going to sponsor the kid's education for good. Something like that. Pick it up on your own. And I really have to thank her. Dude, they all consider me as dad, those kids. But the most important thing is, I'm ever grateful to that lady for putting me on this track. And so that's all I wanted to say. In your own field, try to do that. And as a professional in India for the last 3.5 years, MSN knows, I've been to 14 hospitals and seen over 400 patients. I work with doctors. I don't work with patients directly. I take up difficult cases in cancer and other things. And I pledged to myself that I will never charge 1 cent to a patient or hospital or doctor. And I kept that up for 3.5 years. But I want to thank my wife for that, because if she insists, I'll have to work for money. So the last thing I want to say is that as part of children's growth, one of the reasons why MSN is so dear to me is he conducts all these programs, and all of you are singing stars in your own rights. Go back to your villages and conduct some programs, uplift the children, and so because you share with them, because just academics is not education, cultural programs and sports. So we end up sponsoring in small bits and pieces, not just, MSN doesn't even ask me anything, I say, what can I do for you? But then sporting event and cultural is part of children's growth. So keep that in mind and work with children. That's my request.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్ డాక్టర్ క్రిష్ గారు. మానవత్వం పరిమళించిన మంచి మనసుకు స్వాగతం. సాధారణంగా నాది, మాది, మనది ఒక చిన్న కుటుంబము, ఒక పరిధిలు మాత్రమే గీసుకొని బతుకుతున్నటువంటి సమాజంలో సమాజమంతా నాదే అనుకొని సమాజానికి ఏదో ఇవ్వాలి, సమాజం నుంచి వచ్చినటువంటి నేను మళ్ళీ సమాజానికి ఏదో ఇవ్వాలి అనేటువంటి ఒక సేవా తత్పరతతో కృషితో నాస్తి దుర్భిక్షం అని రుజువు చేసినటువంటి మీ జీవితానికి, ఆ జీవిత పాఠాలను సమాజానికి అందించేటువంటి దిశగా మీరు చేసినటువంటి అపురూపమైనటువంటి అవ్యాజమైనటువంటి సేవా తత్పరతకు స్వాగతం, సుస్వాగతం సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
మ్యాన్ ఆఫ్ హ్యూమానిటీ, మ్యాన్ ఆఫ్ గ్రేట్. ప్లీజ్ అందరం ఒకసారి లేచి నిలబడి చప్పట్లు కొడితే ఇట్స్ అ వండర్ఫుల్.
Please, I don't deserve all those praise, but I tell you what.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
God, the important thing is where we go from here. When you go back to your own powers, wherever you go back, please see what you can do for your community. Take 1 kid or 2 kids at a time and stand by them, whatever you want to do. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.